Welcome to another Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and today I'm going to share with you a theme video that's a little different. This theme is racially diverse groups of citizens that appear on banknotes. And, I'm just saying that tongue-in-cheek. I've always enjoyed banknotes that show a cross-section of the citizenry, as it were, and I always felt like they were propaganda in many ways, but still, they're still pretty interesting, and they give some insight into the country of origin, and for that reason, I like it. So most of the notes in this video are single banknotes, but there is one country that did an entire series that had citizens of different ethnicities on just about every banknote, and I'm going to share with you the notes I do have in that series. Most of these countries did these notes as a theme of unity. Whether it was real or propaganda, they're trying to be noble and enjoy this achievement nonetheless. And the first note I'm going to share with you is a banknote of Fiji. It is a Fiji $2 bill, and you can see children that are unmistakably Fijian, and you can see some children that are Asian and some that are Indian as well. And it's just a neat theme. I like how this kid's waving at me. When I look at the facial features, something doesn't ring true, so I suspect that these are artistic and not necessarily from a photograph of real children. So I think that if you look at enough notes, you can see whether or not the face was based on a real face or just features that you would see on a real face. Now, I would love to be proven wrong, and if somebody has this picture that Fiji made this banknote from, I would really like to see it. We have Queen Elizabeth on this side, and we have the arms of the nation, and this is a neat one because it has a mohur on it, which is a brooch or a pendant. I really don't know what it is, but it looks like it's St. George slaying a dragon right there. So strangely enough, Fiji had a banknote with a dragon on it, I think before China ever did. Well, I mean, a recent note anyway. Let's move to Singapore. And Singapore issued an entire series of $10 bills. And one of those banknotes had children or youth on it. And so look at this racially diverse group of citizens on the back of this banknote with the theme of vibrant nation, endearing home. And here at the bottom, regardless of race, language, or religion. And we have athletes. It looks like we have athletes in all the groups that might appear in Singapore. We have Caucasian, it looks like we have Indian, it looks like we have Malay, Chinese. But they all look happy. And, I'm still seeing some concerns in the features that make me think that these kids were not modeled from a real picture. But I love their expressions nonetheless. They're genuine. They look very nice. We're going to move to Brazil, and this is a 500 Cruzeiros, and this came out during their 500th anniversary. And if you look on this side of the note, you can see different races of people that contribute and make the Brazil the multi melting pot that it is today. It looks like they're mostly men. And on this side of the note, you see a progression of early maps all the way to the current map of Brazil, which shows some of their interstate road networks that also appeared on their coins for a while. Kind of nice. We're going to look at 1,000 rupee of Sri Lanka, and in my mind, this isn't as impressive as the ones that had the phenomenal peacocks and elephants, but this one was issued to commemorate the 70th independence celebrations, where they wanted to celebrate diversity, and you have children from various religious and ethnic groups here that appear in this corner. And then you also have temples and churches of different religions, a mosque, a Christian church, some Buddhist, and maybe, I'm embarrassed to say I don't really know what all the religions are in Sri Lanka, but this note tries to be inclusive for sure. And on this note, we have a bunch of dancers, just like we did on a note I showed recently. Very nice. But it's the children on the other side that made me include this video. We're going to go back to Brazil for a 500,000 Cruzeiros. And I like this note because I like notes that have glasses and hats. I'm not too hard to please. have a friend that kind of looked like that. And those of you who know me might even know who that friend is. So if you think it looks like who I think it is, let me know. On the back of the note, we have the same man with a group of Brazilian children holding on to his every word. This one looks like it's like, huh? What's he saying? And this one looks like he's more interested in getting this girl's attention over here. I don't know. They're cute. I enjoy seeing banknotes with children on them anyway. We're going to go back to Singapore for a $50 banknote. And this is kind of a nice banknote as well. It shows one of the leaders of the nation. I just recently saw pictures of the first Prime Minister of Singapore crying because Malaysia kicked them out and left them to their own devices. And it wasn't something that Singapore wanted, but Singapore certainly took the crap they got from Malaysia and turned Singapore into a powerhouse that I'm sure makes Malaysia wish they'd never gotten rid of them. But this celebrates, I don't know, the 50th anniversary. And here, in 1965, so this is about a 2015 note, so it celebrates about 50 years of Singapore. And on this side, we have 4 children. I see children that look like several different Asian groups, and maybe this child looks a little Caucasian, but all Asian and all Singaporean nonetheless. And then over here we have a First National Day Parade from 1966, and we have a modern new town with a lot of public housing over there. They're big about taking care of their people. I think that they don't look the other way with immigration, too. It's very hard to become a citizen of Singapore. Here's a $20 bill from Singapore, and the National Gallery is shown here. Different features. They like to try features on their note, but the reason this one was included is because this side, while it doesn't show children, shows actual people that were instrumental in the bicentennial of what is now Singapore. Singapore was a region that was part of Malaysia for a long time before it ever became an independent country in 1965. And these faces come from real faces, and you can kind of see the texture looks more photographic in some and looks more like the features came from real life. And so you have here Munshi Abdullah, you have Tan Kah Kee, you have Teresa Sue Chin, and you have Adnan Saidi, you have Ruth Wong Hei King, you have Alice Pennyfeather, you have P. Govindasamy Pilla, and then you have Henry Nicholas Ridley, all famous people that had something to do with Singapore. And you have a modern scene here, the modern skyline, and you have colonial and earlier, much smaller buildings and a much more archaic boats and sceneries that you would see. One of my favorite notes. And here we're going to take a look at this $2 bill of Jamaica. This friendly looking guy is Paul Bogley, right over here. This is a type of hummingbird. And little berries, and I would assume those are coffee berries, maybe Blue Mountain coffee berries. But on the other side of this note, we have a racially diverse group of citizens theme on banknotes. And it goes with their motto, out of many, one people. And you have children that are clearly white, and you have children that are clearly African descent, and you have children that are clearly mixes, and you have every child that you might encounter in Jamaica in glorious friendship and embracing and in a single picture. And while this is an idealization, it's one that I hope is true. And, it warms me when I go to my school and I see kids that don't look like each other, but still are deeply, deeply friends with each other. I'm reminded of that cute little picture of that 4-year-old boy. One of them was African American and one of them wasn't. And they both got their hair cut really short, and they were laughing because they thought that their teacher wouldn't be able to tell them apart anymore. And I don't know, that just warmed my heart. We're back to Fiji for this $2 bill, and we have Queen Elizabeth again here with her father here again. And it looks like she's wearing the Burmese tiara, which was made with 96 rubies that were a gift to her at her wedding. Okay, so on this side we have a racially diverse group of citizens. And on this one, they're wearing clothing related to their ethnicity. So we have some Fijians here. We have, looks like a white person here with, I remember wearing those same socks. Do you guys remember that? Here's another Fijian wearing, or Pacific Islander anyway, wearing some of the tapa cloth. But we have an Indian girl here, and this looks like a European Greek child. These are probably the main ethnicities that you would find in Fiji now, and as a unifier, I like it. There was one point where Fiji elected an Indian prime minister, and the country rebelled, though. So, I think this is an idealization. They want to have people getting along. Okay, the next notes I'm going to show you are all from the same series, and that country that issued them was China. So I know you're not surprised. But you may not realize it, that China issued a series of notes that showed the main ethnicities on their banknotes. And so when we hear about some of the things that China might be doing to some of its people in different regions, it's heartbreaking, but barely 20 years ago, they would put those same people on a banknote. So we have two young men here from two different ethnicities. And I should have done my homework better. This group of banknotes deserves its own theme video, and if I do end up doing that, then I will make sure I have all the ethnicities. But these over here are youth from two additional minority groups, and you may notice right away that they don't necessarily look like our Western ideal of what is Chinese. I thought this was amazingly open-minded of China to have a series like this. I mean, two more youth on this note here. I think I'm missing one because there was one that had, oh, it might be a two. There was one that had a Korean kid on it, and I was always surprised, but I guess when you get to the Manchu region of China, which borders North Korea and South Korea, you will see a lot of Korean minority in that part of China. But I guess I don't have that note here. It must have been in another series. But some of these minority groups don't even look Chinese to me. I mean, these look positively Caucasian whenever I look at their faces. And I think on this next note here, and I'm sure to be corrected, but I think that we have a Uyghur appearing on one of these, and I know that that's a minority group that seems to be struggling for some civil rights lately. I hope China remembers that they thought enough of their people to have them on their banknotes at one time. I always think of Eskimos or, northern native peoples whenever I see this note. One of my favorite series of notes, because everybody that I have on these notes is from a different minority. And I think I'm only lacking one or two notes in the whole series. But there you go. What do you think? Do you think these countries were successful with their racially diverse groups of citizens theme or propaganda on their banknotes? I like them. They make me hope for a brighter future, and I hope they do for you as well. Please like and subscribe to my channel, cuss and discuss with me, and share this wonderful series of banknotes that I have collected for the racially diverse group of citizens theme on banknotes. Have a jewel of a day.